Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brilliantly Resilient Live. We have the most fun episode in store for you all today because we have the creator, you guys, of Pictionary. Think about it. How many smiles are out there right now? How many of you played that game and still play that game? It was such a favorite in my house. I was saying before we came on that I strategically defeated all four of my brothers in that game. Brings back wonderful memories. We have Rob Angel on the show today that is the creator of Pictionary, has a new book out, has incredible information and theories on being brilliantly resilient. So we are so excited to have him here today. Thanks for coming on, Rob.
Well, Kristen, thanks for having me. Mary Fran, appreciate it.
Well, we're so excited to have you.
We are so ready to dive right in, and there's so many things about your journey and the stuff that's in your book, Game Changer, which I love that title, Game Changer. That let's figure out how to unpack this. And we typically talk about reset, rise, and reveal your brilliance, but I'm especially interested for you to give your thoughts to all of our entrepreneurs out there, our brick and mortar business folks, everybody that is having to do a collective reset right now in their journey to their dream of their businesses. So let's start there. What do you have for some advice? Solve all our problems, Rob. Solve them all.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Good luck to you. We all have to reset. Everybody, you guys, me, there's nobody unaffected by what's going on. And it is really just a mindset change. And that's hard. I just said just a mindset change.
Yeah.
That's not easy. I take that back, right? We're at an unknown. The whole world is unknown. Tomorrow is unknown. So knowing that, it helps me personally know that I'm going to have to change. It knows that I'm going to have to adapt. And it's hard because I have to tell myself over and over that I have to adapt. So my advice or my what I talk about is you got to take a lot of little steps to get there. Because I don't have the brain capacity to wake up and go, today I'm going to be an author. Today I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Today it doesn't work for me. I can't do that. But I know since I have to do it, I'm really kind of outside of my control, that I'm going to take those steps. And I do take those little steps one at a time to convince myself and finally change my mindset. And it can take a week, a month, couple of months. And that's how Pictionary got started, with a mindset change, not with a great idea. Same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so please hone in on that. That please, because everybody thinks that you get struck by lightning at one point and all of a sudden here's your aha moment and your big idea, and people sit around and wait for that. And
right.
You're so right. It doesn't happen. It's about taking that one action step. We talk about that all the time. Come up with that one action step. So tell us about that point of it not being this brilliant idea about a game.
Well, of course it was. But
it was.
Oh, hey, I was waiting tables. I was 22 years old, 23 years old, waiting tables. So that was my mindset. That's the box I put myself. That's the label. And I was pretty comfortable with that, to be honest. I enjoyed it. I was good at it. I made the money I wanted to make. And then I discovered Pictionary. I discovered this charades on paper. And I think this is a great idea. And I think this is something I could turn into a game. And I wasn't packaging a game. I was packaging fun. I was packaging the emotion of what I was playing with my roommates. And this was what I wanted to package. And so I had my aha moment when I couldn't figure out how to put it into a game. And by the way, it was a game because this is 1984, and that's what people played. If it was now, it'd be an app. So I just kind of was the technology of the day. That's why people say, Rob, did you want to be a great game inventor? Nope. It wasn't planned. Well, nothing's planned. And so I had my aha moment, couldn't figure out how to put the words into a game, and I see Trivial Pursuit. See the card, and I see the words. There's my aha moment. I'll put the words on cards and put them in the game.
Ah.
Right? That was the aha moment. But exactly, my friend. So what? I mean, it was like, I didn't do anything with it. I started to panic. I couldn't get out of the label of being a waiter. I couldn't get myself to being anything else. And so I had to break it down to a simple step. I had to get started, or I would have continued to tell myself I was a waiter. The word list was the simplest thing. So I grabbed a pad of paper, a pencil, and a dictionary. And the thing about that was it was right in front of me. I didn't overthink my first step because I was overthinking everything: business plans, marketing plans. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a waiter.
Yeah, you get mired in that place.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you get
goodness.
stuck there.
I'm amazing at overthinking. Like if there was a Super Bowl, I'd be the MVP.
I would be the co-MVP. Trust me. I mean, we'd be negotiating who gets to take the trophy home. It's like, yeah, I was overthinking, and I was negotiating with myself over and over. You're just a waiter. No, you want to be a game inventor. No, I just kept what if? So I finally said, okay. Went in the backyard with a pad of paper, a dictionary, and a pen, and I opened it up, and the first word I came to that would make sense for Pictionary was aardvark. Right, double A.
Perfect sense.
It was perfect. Aardvark. Okay, here we go. Aardvark. So I write down the word aardvark. And guess what? In that moment, when I wrote down aardvark, I was no longer a waiter. I was a game inventor. Okay, that's not true.
There it is. Almost.
But you know what? It is about that tiny mindset tweak. Like you're in that different space at that moment, and then it allows for the creativity of that to take root.
Right. Exactly right. It took root with that one word. But like I said earlier, I don't have, even today, I don't really have the mental strength to just, they say, wake up and just tell yourself you're something else. And no, you won't. I take that. I apologize. I got all worked up. Coffee's kicked in. For me, I can't do that. So with Pictionary, it's a microcosm of exactly what happened. So I wrote down the word, I'm a game inventor. Well, pretty quickly, I'm back to being a waiter. Well, but I wrote down a second word. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this game inventor thing, maybe. Then a third and a fourth and a fifth. So I about 1,000 words after about a month. Okay, no, wait a minute. This reinforcement, telling myself over and over with each word, maybe I am a game inventor. So by the time I was done, it took 3 months, 5,018 words I wrote down on pads, and I was done. So after 5,000 words and 3 months, I was a game inventor. So it took time. I had to keep telling myself. But then from there, right, I'm a game inventor. Okay, well, wait a minute. I've got a word list. What do game inventors do? I don't know. Next step. Just do a play test. And I did it. So, and then I just snowballed from there. I still didn't have a plan. I mean, here's the other thing that I thought when I got started, I had to have everything in place before I got started.
Mm-hmm.
What is a game inventor? It has business plans, marketing plan. No, the word list.
Yeah.
And I did the next thing. And
Are you related to us? Because we do the same thing with this whole brilliantly resilient thing. You have to read the moment, and you have to sometimes just take action in the moment. And all this stuff that everybody tells you about, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about, well, yeah, I thought about it, but I don't know how to do that stuff. So I'm going to do the stuff I know how to do.
There's no right way. There's a couple of wrong ways. There's no right way. There was this program that I took, and there was 50 of us in the program, and they had 2 chairs, one at each side of the room. So the 50 of us line up on one side of the room, and they said, okay, the goal is to go to the other side of the room and touch that chair. That's a simple goal. We can do that. But the rule was you couldn't do what anybody else had done. So we go over and we're like this and on our hands, and we come back, we go back and forth 200 different times. The goal, simple, go to the chair. But guess what? 200 different ways to go back and forth to that chair. So there's no one answer. There's no right answer. The goal is there, but don't get too stressed over what everybody tells you should be doing. Don't get stressed over marketing plans. I mean, just get going, and there's no right answer.
Wow, you're making us feel so much better, because we were like, the past couple of weeks, everyone's like, in the online space now, you should have a course and you should have this. And we were like, we were losing my hair extensions were falling out. I'm like, we can't, how are we going to do all this? And then we said, we are speakers and authors, and we are very good at this show. That's where we're going to focus. And then it was like, take a breath. And then we created much better stuff because we were in our wheelhouse of what we well, what we want to do. I don't know. We'll see what
By
happens
the
with
end
the
of the interview,
world.
maybe you understand what that is, but we'll just keep talking.
We're not sure yet. We're just going along with it. But you know what? You hit on so many of the things that we talk about, because people wait. They sit on their hands and they just wait, and nothing ever happens when you wait. And it's about that one action step, and then it's about the next action step, and seeing what happens from there and going with the evolution of it.
I call it finding your aardvark, because right? I mean, that's
I love that.
As you notice the book, you know, it has an aardvark on it. I mean, it's a big thing, but it's not, again, to this point, finding your aardvark isn't finding your purpose, isn't finding whatever it is you're looking for. Finding your aardvark is just taking one little step and then another and another and another. And eventually your goals, your dreams, whatever you're looking for will reveal themselves. But without taking a lot of steps in a lot of different directions, you'll never know.
I love the fact that you talk about they can be little steps.
They're all little steps. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The bigger steps I take, the more lost I get. I mean, that's just me. I've just never said that before, but it's true. The smaller steps, the celebrating those little victories. I mean, I wrote down the word aardvark. I'm running around the backyard. Hair's on fire. Oh my God, I wrote a word. My roommates think I'm a little nuts, but that's okay. But
we are totally, all three of us, long lost best friends, because that's how we are. Rob, when we hit 50 episodes of this show, we were having like parties on Zoom with the two of us. We were so, of course my kids were like, that's great, Mom. Congratulations. I'm like, it's 50. Then we had 100 consecutive days on the air, and the kids were like, so that's why the laundry looks that way. I'm like, well, we're amazing. We've done 100, but we're very big on that, of celebrating those, each little step, and then it helps you keep going. Well, it helps us keep going.
It does. And your kids are learning resiliency because they have to do their own laundry now.
Do their own laundry, right?
They do.
So
you
separate the darks from the whites. That's all I can remember.
So you came up with this plan, and you just, not even a plan. You came up with these little action steps, and then how did you get to the point? Because clearly, for it to become what it became, you had to do things or find people to help you do things that you didn't know how to do. And that's one of the other things that we talk about with the whole tribe thing. Krista and I are our own little tribe, because I hate to do all the stuff that she likes to do, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I start my sentences with so.
It draws me in, Rob. When you say so, I'm there. So go for it.
We're listening like this.
So anyway. So, gosh.
So Rob, tell us.
Coffee's really kicked in. So partners, the way I looked at it, as they say, know your strengths, admit your weaknesses. That's kind of common. It's not common, it's true. And to do that, you've got to have guts to take your ego out of those decisions. It's hard to admit that you're not, right? You're not all that. A friend of mine works for Microsoft in the entrepreneur division, and I asked her, I said, what's the number one reason for failure? And without hesitation, she said, entrepreneurs think they can do it all, right? And so I don't have the skill set to be a business guy. I mean, I went to school to be a businessman, but I don't want to run a business. I don't know graphic artists. So I said, okay, how can I fill in those blanks? A graphic artist buddy worked at the restaurant, and the CPA came across him. The universe provided, if you will, but they had the skill sets that I didn't have. But there's three, I think for partners and this whole thing, you need three things. Yeah, skill sets that you don't have. You can hire that, right? Yeah. You can find somebody to do your accounting. But two, they have to be on board with your vision, right? I had the vision, I had the idea. They have to be on board, because if not, it's going to cause problems down the road when you have to make decisions. This isn't taken lightly. They have to be on board with what you're feeling and thinking. 2.5 is give them a piece of the action. Have them invested, right? You want them to really feel a part of this process. You want them to really feel like they belong. And the last one, which is impossible to articulate and quantify, is core values. had to
We
share
talk
my
about that all the time.
oh, really? I should be watching your show. Core values, because there's going to be problems. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. And if you guys aren't on the same page, or partners aren't on the same page and feel the same way about life, about people, about business, and you don't have this emotional connection, and you don't want to have dinner with them 3 nights a week, it's going to cause a lot of problems. And my intuition told me when I met my 2 partners, they were the guy. Skill sets, great. But my intuition, my heart, my gut said, yes, they're the ones. And I was absolutely right, not because of their skill sets, because of who they were as people and as humans. That's what made us a great team.
It comes down to the relationships and having the
Absolutely.
same values. And it's funny because I never considered core values being a part of any of this stuff until this show. And so many people have echoed that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, Kristen and I have been friends for a while, but again, to articulate that and to recognize that, when you feel a kinship with someone, it's not often spoken. It's not, but there's something there. And then I think you find, as Kristen and I did, that as you get to know each other better, it is exactly that. It is this shared idea of what's important in life and what means something to you. And I think you're so right that you cannot have long-term working relationships with people unless they share your values.
Yeah. And when those big decisions come, if you don't, the decisions are going to be so monumental and so stressful, you may make the wrong one. If you don't have this, when we licensed, when we sold, when we, collated cars, time after time after time, these major decisions were pretty easy to make because we were all on the same page.
Yes. Isn't that wild? That's what we find.
Yeah.
It's really funny because we'll come up against something and one or the other of us will say, well, here's the yada, yada, whatever, without giving an opinion. The other person will write back. And then it's always, that's exactly what I was thinking, because there is that commonality in what you value and what you think is important. And I don't think that people initially recognize that as inherently important to business.
Look, as you're saying that, when we got into negotiations to license Pictionary after 13 months, we became really big, really fast. We couldn't fund our own growth. We couldn't scale. And so we needed $2 million. And this is 1986 money.
Wow.
And there was no VCs. So to really do the job right, so we had to license. And here's another resiliency. So to license, meaning somebody would do the manufacturing, their cost. And to do that, though, I had to become a licensing company, not a game company. So there's another mindset change. I had to convince myself, I'm no longer a game inventor, I'm a licensing guy. And that was a little easier. But we had a deal on the table. And it was from Milton Bradley, the biggest game company in the world. And I'm 28 years old, making $500 a month, driving a 10-year-old car. And this deal comes through. And it had the biggest royalty rate they'd ever given an independent game company. And it had guarantees and marketing spend. But the one thing they didn't put in the contract was they wouldn't touch the packaging without a written approval. Right? They wanted to change Pictionary rules, the graphics. And we realized in that moment, when they wanted to do that, nobody is going to love or respect us or Pictionary more than we will. Nobody will have our best interest at heart. They have their own best interest, which is fine. I mean, that's what business is all about. So I had no problem with that. But all I had to do was sign that piece of paper and I'm a millionaire at 28. They wouldn't put in writing, they wouldn't touch the graphics. So their vision didn't line up with ours. So I said no. I was willing to go back to waiting table.
How good was that, though? Away from that deal.
No, I tell you, it was an easy decision.
Really?
It was. I mean, I'm not saying that cavalier. Okay, it might have been a day after I said no where I was like,
oops.
I mean, I wasn't quite all moonbeam, but there was never a doubt that it was the right decision, and I was willing to go back, as Simon Sinek calls it, just cause. I was willing to go back to waiting tables, and failure There's no plan B, and risk failure than sign a deal that wasn't in my best interest or Pictionary's best interest or my partner's best interest. But here's the deal. We're talking about partners, right? I didn't have to negotiate with my two partners about whether to sign or not because we had this shared experience. We were core values. They agreed from the beginning, 100%. So I wanted to negotiate with Bradley. I didn't want to negotiate with my partners.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. We all agreed, and we went back to our day jobs, risking success, not even failure, risking success. As it turns out, though, 3 weeks later, joint venture formed, and they gave us all our guarantees, more money than Milton Bradley.
Oh.
So by holding true to our values, our core values, what we knew, what we wanted, we got the deal we needed. So it all worked out. Universe provides.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, that's actually what you're talking about, though, is transferable not just in business and entrepreneurship. It's actually in relationships and people and all of that.
Absolutely.
You walk away from, what did you call it? Simon Sinek says it's just cause.
Just cause. You're just cause.
I love that. Yeah, I'd rather walk away from that and know that I'm solid at my core than stay in something that's against my grain. It only took me 48 and a half years to realize that. Aren't I a quick study?
62. So yeah, it took me a while as well. It's from writing the book, I go back and I'm realizing all these things. At the time, it just seemed normal. It didn't really seem like a big deal. Well,
I think that's the key, though. When you're at peace, it's just going to sound, I guess, kind of corny or weird, but when you're at peace with your gut and your heart, then you know it's the right thing.
Yeah.
You feel it. So you signed with this joint venture, and Pictionary became what it is, which is unbelievable. So now tell us about the book and how you have taken all of these experiences and you're using that to kind of help the rest of us who are trying to figure this whole thing out.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
I know, right? Solve our problems.
I got my own, lady. No, I wrote the book primarily when I got started 6 years ago, to tell the story so my kids know what Daddy did. I mean, they knew after the fact. But as I started writing it, all these lessons that I realized I was learning without realizing it started coming out. And I started connecting the dots of what I'd learned, business, and exactly, Kristen, every business lesson is a life lesson and vice versa. You exchange the two words interchangeably. So the book tells the journey, tells the story, the ups, the downs, what we had to overcome, and the victories, the small victories. And it's just a great read. It's a good story. And I hope people are inspired by it, because I was a waiter. And then all of a sudden I've got the biggest selling board game in the world. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's the book. That's the story of what it is.
Well, let me ask you this. One of my most favorite stories that I heard you tell on a podcast recently, and I don't know if it made it in the book, is the one about, because it reminded me of Sarah Blakely with Spanx, where you went to the store, the department store, and you had to sell your own games there. And you're getting people to play it at the store.
Oh, right. The Nordstrom thing, right?
We did Nordstrom. Right? I've seen her stuff. Sarah Blakely's story and my story, identical.
I know. I want to sit in the same bar with you guys and hang out because it's unbelievable.
Yeah, the lessons, we got started without having a plan. We one foot in front of the other. And so my business plan, what you're talking about, is I kept things simple. Mm-hmm. So our business plan was make games, sell games. Promote games. That's about it. Simple. Make games, sell games, promote games. So we got the game made. We got the game, and I had to go sell the game. So we had them in stores, but we had to promote the games. And so that's where I was a little more out there. So we would take the game and go to a restaurant, and we'd open it up and start playing in the middle of the restaurant.
I just think that's so great.
What are you doing? Oh, we're just playing Pictionary. Sit down. And we'd always do it near a retail outlet. Oh, by the way, you having fun? I invented it. It's next door. I did demonstrations, hundreds. At bottom of escalator at Nordstrom. They'd come down the escalator. I'd have my little table and a pencil. Play my game. And so I was fearless, absolutely fearless. I'd sell to real estate companies. I would sell to pharmacies. I don't care if you sold anything. You might as well sell Pictionary.
I love it.
We do store checks because we kept everything local. And there was a local store called Fred Meyer. And I walked in one day and I don't see Pictionary on their game aisle. It's down at the bottom shelf. Oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So my business partner was there and he's keeping a lookout for the manager. And I go and I rearrange their game department. I put Pictionary at eye level and I take Trivial Pursuit and put it on the bottom shelf because they were our competition. So, whatever we did.
I think that is just hilarious. I love that you were sitting in the restaurant playing the game and then get people to come over and starts the conversation. But that is true grit. And have you read Adam Braun that did has Pencils of Promise. His book, The Promise of a Pencil, I read years ago when I was launching my nonprofit. And he talks about you have to have an unwavering commitment to your mission. And those are those kinds of things you do when you know that this needs to get out there. I love it.
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, that was fun. This wasn't marketing. This is, let's go have a few beers and play the game. We had a ball.
When you have that commitment though, and that feeling in your heart and in your gut, because Kristen and I say that all the time, we'll go over our lists of things to do about the Brilliantly Resilient platform. And we're so excited about it because we're invested, our heart's invested, our emotions, our mind. And, I don't consider myself a salesperson either, but I could talk about this all day long because I believe in it. And that was where you were coming from.
Absolutely. We believed in the process. We believed in the game. We believed in each other. And so it was just full steam ahead. And we weren't afraid of failure, right? But it takes a while to get past that. I mean, to get started, I say that very cavalier, but it's hard. But once we got into it, once we believed we had something, we had trust in ourselves and each other and the product, man, that's liberating. I mean, when you have partners that back you up, I mean, you two, I'm watching you two. We don't know each other, but I can see it and feel it in you two. And to have that camaraderie and have that support, oh my goodness. If you find that person or people in your business, man, sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. I love that.
Yeah, it's golden. It's made me see what trust really is, that, trusting each other's decisions and viewpoints and all of that. It is really cool. It is really cool. I'm sitting here thinking that, Marifan, I think that now that the world is opening, we should take the show on the road, which was our initial thing, and we'll just going to start interviewing people in bars and Nordstrom.
That's a perfect idea. We'll do it at the bottom of the escalator in Nordstrom.
It's the Rob model.
You can be our first guest, Rob. We'll have you there again. Bring the board game.
I'll call you, tell what bar I'm in, and randomly, of course, because nobody's going to know we'd set it up. Yeah. Oh, here's an unlikely fellow.
How funny would that be?
Here's an unlikely fellow.
One of the things...
My business partner used the word fellow, so I don't know.
One of the things that I loved about what you were saying about when you wrote the book was how you started connecting the dots and realizing that as you went through that process, you were learning all these lessons. Yeah. And Kristen and I, our background, Kristen is raising two sons who are blind. My son struggled with heroin and drug addictions for many, many years. And that was our common ground, because we both realized in talking to each other about our stories that there were all these lessons that we had learned that were really able to be put in a form that could be shared with other people. And that was something that we felt we needed to do. So you kind of, echo that in your book, in the Game Changer idea. There are lessons there.
Oh, there's lessons in everything we do. I mean, your two examples are pretty extreme. Yeah. There's lessons in...
Yeah, we know.
I know, right? I'm telling you what you know. I'm the master of the obvious. Really, my kids said all it. Really, Dad? We knew that.
There's your T-shirt. Now we have a T-shirt for Rob, Master of the Obvious. There you go.
And short attention span theater is another. But anyway, there's lessons, big and small. Mm-hmm. So I tend to say, what's the lesson in that? Well, sometimes it's not big. Sometimes it's don't eat spaghetti at past 10 o'clock. I mean,
Still a valuable lesson, we might add.
Lesson. Hard fought, hard one. You eat cheese after 3, you're in trouble. See, I know these, but but again, not every lesson has to come from something dramatic. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, the world came to an end. It's, oh my goodness. So just pay attention to the little things and be open to those little things. That's what I always talk about, being open. Don't judge all the opportunities. Don't judge the lessons. Don't judge the messenger. And so when things come through, it's okay. Just take them on board. If it works, great. If not, ignore it and wait for the next.
I'll have to keep replaying that over and over again. That is not my strong suit.
What is your strong suit, Kristen?
I overthink, overjudge, replay, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I've been working on that this whole quarantine to stop doing that.
So sounds like it's not working. But anyway.
And there's the obvious again.
Oh, man.
Well, Rob, this has been just a delightful conversation. We could talk to you all day, but I really want people to know where they can find you, more about you. You're taking your message, to groups, and I know you're doing the, motivational speaking and bringing your story to other people, which is wonderful. So how can people get hold of you for that and to get hold of the book?
You get the book on Amazon, Game Changer Rob, Game Changer Pictionary. You can get on my website, robangel.com, and I'm selling autographed books there.
Oh, cool.
Samples direct. And you can find me on social media at The Rob Angel. So all the usual platforms, The Rob Angel. I just like sharing. I like talking clearly. But it's whatever lessons I can teach, whatever I can share. I'm happy to do it. I love doing it because I don't know. It's kind of our job. If we've had
your brilliance. You're bringing your brilliance to the world. I mean, that's what we talk about all the time. When you find your brilliance, that is, that's your gift. That's what you're supposed to get out there to share with the world. And when you get there, it's the best place to be. You just know you're home.
Yeah, it is. I do a lot of talking to college kids, and their faces are like this, and it's like, so it's rewarding is not even the right word. It's just fabulous to see. So thank you. And I love the whole idea what you guys are doing. So take it on the road, do what you have to do. Because it's where the times we're in right now.
Yeah.
And when we come out of these times, which we will, who knows what we're going to look like? Who knows what individually as a collective we're going to look like and feel like? But as long as we keep moving forward, as long as we keep adapting, as long as we keep just growing and learning in small steps, we'll be okay. We will be okay.
There's our clip. Kay, right there. That's the clip.
Very good. Very good. Look out, Instagram. That's coming at you. That one right there is coming at you. Well, Rob, this has been more fun than I even anticipated that it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a good time. And for all of you out there, make sure you go check out Rob. Make sure you check out the book, Game Changer. And if you're still having issues with this whole resetting your mindset, go check out the freebie that we have at brilliantlyresilient.net/freebie. But also, go sit down with some folks and play some Pictionary. Have some fun, people. Have a good time. And try to draw an aardvark and maybe send us your version of the aardvark. That would be fun.
I don't even think I could draw an aardvark.
This has been a good one, you guys. Everybody, make sure that you listen on the podcast, give us a rating, a review, and reach out to us on social media. And we will see you at the next episode of Brilliantly Resilient Live.
Take care.
Bye.